Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with a heavy heart and an unwavering spirit. I want to share a story that is as old as time itself, a tale of truth, courage, and the relentless pursuit of justice. It begins with a whisper that echoed into my soul. God told me to expose this minister. But what does it mean to expose? What does it mean to stand up for truth in a world that often prefers the comfortable embrace of silence? Imagine a world where we no longer tolerate the shadows of deceit that lurk in our institutions, where we break the chains of complacency and step into the light of accountability. Today, I want to talk about 3 key points that underscore this mission: the power of truth, the courage to act, and the transformative effect of community. First, let's explore the power of truth. Truth is a powerful force. It has the ability to heal wounds, dismantle barriers, and ignite movements. Think about moments in your life when you've had to confront uncomfortable truths, perhaps about yourself, your relationships, or your work. It's never easy, yet those moments define us. They carve out space for growth and understanding. When I was in college, I found myself at a crossroads. A mentor, someone I deeply respected, began to stray from the path of integrity. I watched as they misused their influence, and the truth began to gnaw at my conscience. I faced a choice: to remain silent to protect my comfort, or to speak out and risk everything. The truth was heavy, but it was also liberating. I chose to confront that truth. I learned that truth, while painful, can bring clarity. It can illuminate the murky waters of confusion and allow us to navigate our lives with purpose and conviction. Now let's move to the second point: the courage to act. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the resolve to act in spite of it. When we witness wrongdoing, we often feel paralyzed, caught between the desire to speak out and the fear of repercussions. But remember this: every great change in history began with someone who decided to act. Consider the story of Rosa Parks, who refused to give up her seat on the bus. In that moment, she embodied courage. She didn't just sit down, she stood up for her rights, igniting a movement that changed the course of history. Her act of defiance was a beacon of hope, reminding us that we each have the power to challenge injustice. In my own life, I faced moments where speaking out felt like standing against a tidal wave. But I learned that true courage often lies in vulnerability. When we are open about our fears and our struggles, we empower others to do the same. Let me ask you this: what fear is holding you back from taking your stand? What truth do you need to embrace to step forward boldly? Finally, let's delve into the transformative effect of community. We are not meant to walk this journey alone. Our strength is amplified when we come together, when we share our stories, and when we lift each other up. Community is where our individual truths converge to create a collective force for change. I recall a time when I was part of a grassroots organization fighting for social justice. We faced immense challenges, but our unity was our power. We shared our fears, our hopes, and our dreams, and in doing so, we created a tapestry of strength that was unbreakable. We learned that when one voice rises, others will follow. Together, we became a chorus of truth, echoing through the halls of power. So I urge you today, find your community. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, who inspire you to be better, and who stand with you in the face of adversity. The journey toward truth and justice is not a solitary one. It is a shared path paved with solidarity. As we come to the close of this talk, I invite you to reflect on your own life. What truths have you been holding back? Where do you need to summon the courage to act, even in the face of fear? And how can you build or strengthen your community to support this journey? In the spirit of action, I challenge each of you to take a step forward. Identify one truth you can speak, one courageous act you can undertake, and one way you can connect with others. The world is waiting for your voice. The world needs your courage. Let us not be silent in the face of injustice. Let us rise together, fueled by the power of truth, the courage to act, and the strength of our community. Together, we can expose the shadows and illuminate a path towards a brighter future. As we dive deeper into this journey together, let's explore the very essence of what it means to embrace truth, act with courage, and foster community. Each of these elements is not just a concept, they are the building blocks of a life lived authentically and purposefully. They are the threads that weave together the fabric of our existence, and they can empower us to create a ripple effect that transforms not only our lives, but the lives of those around us. Let's take a moment to think about the impact of truth. Truth is like sunlight breaking through a dense fog, illuminating the path ahead. It can dispel the doubts that cloud our minds and hearts. In our personal lives, we often grapple with truths we find difficult to accept. We may struggle with our self-worth, our relationships, or our aspirations. But embracing these truths liberates us. It allows us to confront our fears and insecurities head-on, enabling us to grow and evolve. Consider the journey of a butterfly. Before it takes to the skies, it must first endure the dark, constricting confines of a chrysalis. It must confront the struggle within, battling against its own limitations before emerging in a burst of color and grace. This metamorphosis is a powerful metaphor for our own journeys. We often must shed old beliefs and confront uncomfortable truths to become the people we are destined to be. Let me share a personal story that illustrates this concept. A few years ago, I found myself at a crossroads in my career. I was working at a prestigious company, yet I felt unfulfilled. I was living a life that looked perfect on the outside, but felt hollow within. It was during a particularly challenging period that I had to ask myself, what is my truth? What truly brings me joy? The answer was not easy to come by. It required deep introspection and a willingness to confront the reality of my situation. I realized that I had been conforming to the expectations of others instead of listening to my own heart. This truth was painful, but it was also liberating. It propelled me to make changes that would ultimately lead me to a more fulfilling path, one that aligned with my passions and values. This brings us to the second point, the courage to act. Courage is often romanticized, but the reality is that it is messy and filled with uncertainty. When we muster the strength to act, we do so in the face of fear, doubt, and sometimes even ridicule. But every act of courage, big or small, has the power to create waves of change. Think about the activists throughout history who dared to stand up for what they believed in. They faced immense challenges, opposition, threats, and even violence. Yet they chose to act. They risked their comfort for the greater good, and their courageous actions ignited movements that altered the course of history. One such story that resonates deeply with me is that of Malala Yousafzai. As a young girl in Pakistan, she faced a brutal regime that sought to deny her the right to education. Yet she found the courage to speak out, to advocate for her right and the rights of countless other girls. She faced dire consequences, but her bravery inspired millions. Her journey reminds us that courage does not come from the absence of fear, but from the resolve to rise above it. In our daily lives, we can cultivate this courage. It might not manifest as a grand act of defiance, but rather as small, intentional decisions that align with our values. It could be speaking up in a meeting when we disagree, supporting a colleague who is facing challenges, or even reaching out to someone in need. Each act of courage, no matter how small, contributes to a larger tapestry of change. Now, let's turn our attention to the transformative power of community. We are profoundly social beings, and our connections with others shape our experiences and influence our actions. When we embrace the idea of community, we recognize that we are part of something greater than ourselves. We are not alone in our struggles. We have allies, mentors, and friends who can support us on our journey. Think about the communities you are part of. Whether it's your family, your workplace, or a group of friends, each community has the potential to empower you. They can provide encouragement when you're feeling lost and challenge you when you're complacent. They can serve as a sounding board for your ideas and a support system in times of need. Let me recount a moment that exemplified this for me. A few years ago, I was involved in a community project aimed at providing mentorship to underprivileged youth. The challenges we faced were immense: limited resources, skepticism from the community, and our own fears of inadequacy. Yet as we came together, something magical happened. We began to share our stories, our struggles, and our successes. We learned from one another, and our collective strength grew. In that space, I witnessed the power of community firsthand. We transformed obstacles into opportunities, and our shared vision ignited a passion that propelled us forward. Together, we were able to create a program that not only impacted the lives of the youth we mentored, but also enriched our own lives in profound ways. We became a family, united by a common purpose. This experience taught me that when we come together, we can achieve the extraordinary. We can amplify our voices, create change, and support one another in ways that we could never do alone. Community provides us with the courage to act as we draw strength from those around us. As we reflect on these themes, truth, courage, and community, I invite you to consider how they manifest in your own life. What truths do you need to confront? What acts of courage can you take today? How can you deepen your connections with others to foster a sense of community? Let's take a moment to visualize this. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a cliff overlooking a vast ocean. The waves crash below, their rhythm a reminder of the challenges and uncertainties that lie ahead. But as you stand there, you feel the warmth of the sun on your back and the gentle breeze on your face. You are not alone. Behind you stands a community of supporters, friends, and allies ready to catch you if you fall. Now imagine taking that leap. Imagine stepping off that cliff and plunging into the depths of the unknown. As you dive into the water, you feel the exhilaration of freedom, the rush of adrenaline, and the thrill of possibility. You are embracing your truth, acting with courage, and surrounded by a community that believes in you. This is the power of living authentically. This is the gift of truth, courage, and community. It invites us to step boldly into our lives, to pursue our passions, and to uplift one another in the process. As we move forward from this moment, let's commit to being champions of truth. Let's promise to confront the uncomfortable realities in our lives and in our communities. Let's choose to act courageously, even when the path is fraught with uncertainty. And let's nurture our connections, recognizing that together we can create a world where truth prevails, where courage is celebrated, and where community is the bedrock of our existence. As we conclude this journey, I want to leave you with a challenge. This week, identify one truth that you will embrace, one courageous act you will take, and one way you will strengthen your community. Write it down, share it with someone, and hold yourself accountable. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step. Every movement for change starts with one person daring to make a difference. You have the power within you to be that person. You have the strength to embrace your truth, to act with courage, and to build a community that uplifts and inspires. So, as you leave here today, carry this message in your heart. You are capable of extraordinary things. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. And together we can create a world that reflects the values we hold dear. Thank you for being here, for being part of this conversation, and for your commitment to living authentically. Let us walk this path together, illuminating the way for others and creating a legacy of truth, courage, and community for generations to come. As we journey further into the heart of this conversation, let's dive deeper into the implications of embracing truth, acting with courage, and fostering community. Each of these elements is not merely an abstract idea. They are the lifeblood of our existence, essential to living a meaningful life. They are interconnected, forming a triad that empowers us to rise above challenges and inspires us to make a difference in the world. Imagine waking up each day with a renewed sense of purpose, driven by a commitment to live your truth. What would that look like? How would it change the way you interact with others? The truth is a catalyst for transformation. When we align our actions with our authentic selves, we create an energy that is palpable. We become beacons of light, drawing others toward us. This light encourages those around us to seek their own truths, to embark on their own journeys of discovery. I remember a moment in my life when I was feeling particularly lost. I had just experienced a setback that left me questioning my abilities and my direction. I sat in a coffee shop staring out the window, watching the world go by. As I observed people engaged in their daily lives, I felt a sense of longing, a desire to connect, to understand, and to find my own place in that tapestry. Then a young woman entered the cafe with a radiant smile. She greeted the barista warmly, and I couldn't help but notice the joy she exuded. She engaged in conversation with those around her, and it was clear that she was living her truth. I later discovered she was an artist pursuing her passion despite the challenges. Her authenticity resonated with me, igniting a spark within. I realized that living my truth could inspire others just as she inspired me. We must remember that our authenticity doesn't just serve ourselves, it has the potential to inspire and uplift those around us. When we embrace our unique voices, we contribute to a richer, more diverse narrative. This is vital in our increasingly interconnected world, where each of us has a role to play in shaping the future. Now let's return to the theme of courage. Courage often demands that we confront not only external challenges, but also the internal battles we face. We all have an inner critic, that voice that whispers doubts and fears. You're not good enough. What if you fail? What will others think? These thoughts can paralyze us, keeping us from taking the steps necessary to live our truth. But here's the secret. Courage is not the absence of that voice. It's the decision to act in spite of it. It's about acknowledging your fears and choosing to move forward anyway. Think back to a time when you faced fear head on. Perhaps it was a job interview, a difficult conversation, or even standing up for someone who was being treated unfairly. In those moments, you tapped into your inner courage. You recognized that the discomfort of staying silent was far greater than the fear of speaking out. Let's take a moment to reflect on the story of a young man named David. He was a talented musician, but he struggled with anxiety that often held him back from performing. The thought of stepping onto a stage made his heart race and his palms sweat. Despite his fears, he felt a deep calling to share his music with the world. One day, David decided to confront his anxiety. He began playing at open mic nights, starting with small venues where the audience was supportive. Each time he stepped onto that stage, he felt fear clawing at him, yet he also felt a sense of exhilaration. With every performance, he pushed through his discomfort, and slowly but surely, he began to reclaim his voice. David's journey is a testament to the power of courage. It teaches us that it's okay to feel afraid. What matters is what we do with that fear. By taking action, we chip away at the barriers that hold us back, and we can inspire others to do the same. Now let's shift our focus to the idea of community. We often underestimate the profound impact that community can have on our lives. A strong community can provide the support, encouragement, and accountability we need to pursue our goals. It can be a sanctuary where we can share our fears and dreams without judgment. Think about the communities you belong to, whether they are familial, professional, or based on shared interests. Each of these communities has the potential to foster growth and resilience. When we come together with a shared purpose, we create a powerful synergy. We can uplift one another, challenge each other to reach our full potential, and create a safe space for vulnerability. Let me share a heartwarming story about a community that came together to support one of its own. A woman named Sarah had been diagnosed with a serious illness, and her world turned upside down. She faced a long and arduous recovery process filled with uncertainty and fear. Yet rather than retreating into isolation, she reached out to her community. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. Friends, family, and even acquaintances came together to support her. They organized meal trains, created fundraisers to help cover medical expenses, and offered emotional support through countless phone calls and visits. The love and compassion of this community enveloped Sarah, reminding her that she was not alone in her struggle. This experience illustrated the incredible power of community. It showed me that when we lean on one another, we can weather any storm. Sarah's story is a reminder that we all have the capacity to create that kind of support network for the people in our lives. We can be the ones who show up, who listen, and who act with kindness. In the spirit of fostering community, I want to encourage each of you to think about how you can create spaces of support in your own lives. Perhaps it's starting a book club, organizing a neighborhood gathering, or simply reaching out to a friend in need. Each small act of connection can ripple out in ways we may never fully comprehend. Now let's return to the thread that connects these ideas, the interplay between truth, courage, and community. Each element strengthens the others. When we embrace our truth, we find the courage to act. When we act courageously, we inspire others to do the same. And together, we can build a community that nurtures growth and transformation. As we navigate through life, we will inevitably face challenges. There will be moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. It's during these times that our commitment to truth, courage, and community will be put to the test. But remember, we are not defined by our challenges. We are defined by how we respond to them. Consider the story of the phoenix, a mythological bird that rises from the ashes of its own destruction. This powerful symbol embodies resilience and rebirth. Just as the phoenix emerges stronger from the flames, we too can rise from our struggles, fueled by the truths we uncover, the courage we muster, and the communities we cultivate. In our pursuit of truth, we will encounter moments of discomfort. We may have to face difficult conversations or confront our own biases, but it is in these moments that we grow the most. Embracing our truth requires humility and a willingness to learn. It calls us to listen deeply, to understand different perspectives, and to engage in meaningful dialogue. Let's take a moment to reflect on the importance of listening. In our fast-paced world, we often rush to respond or defend our viewpoints. However, true listening requires us to pause, to hear others fully, and to seek to understand their experiences. It is a powerful act of empathy that can bridge divides and foster connection. Think about a time when someone truly listened to you. Perhaps it was a friend who offered a listening ear during a tough time, or a mentor who provided guidance without judgment. Those moments of connection are transformative. They remind us that we are seen and valued. As we cultivate our communities, let's prioritize the art of listening. Let's create spaces where everyone feels heard and respected. By doing so, we can foster an environment where truth can emerge, courage can flourish, and growth can occur. Now let's circle back to courage. Courage is not a one-time act. It's a muscle we must continuously strengthen. Each time we choose to act despite our fears, we build resilience. Every small step we take becomes a building block for greater acts of courage in the future. Consider the impact of small acts of courage in your daily life. It could be as simple as speaking up in a meeting, sharing your ideas with others, or advocating for someone who doesn't have a voice. Each act, no matter how small, contributes to a culture of courage within your community. When we collectively embrace courage, we create a ripple effect that inspires others to do the same. Let's take a moment to visualize this concept. Picture a stone dropped into a still pond. The ripples expand outward, touching every corner of the water's surface. Each act of courage we take can create similar ripples in our communities. When we act, we inspire others to act, and together we can create a wave of change. As we continue this journey, I challenge you to think about your own acts of courage. Identify one small action you can take in the coming week that aligns with your truth. It could be reaching out to someone you've lost touch with, volunteering your time, or advocating for a cause you believe in. Whatever it is, commit to it wholeheartedly. Now let's return to the idea of community. As we build our communities, let's also remember the importance of inclusivity. A truly supportive community is one where diversity is celebrated and all voices are welcomed. This means creating spaces where everyone feels safe to express their truth regardless of their background or beliefs. Embracing diversity is not just a moral imperative. It enriches our communities and broadens our perspectives. When we gather people from different walks of life, we create opportunities for learning and growth. We challenge our assumptions and expand our understanding of the world. Let's reflect on a time when you encountered a perspective that was different from your own. Perhaps it was a conversation with someone from a different culture or background. How did that experience shape your understanding? What insights did you gain? These moments of connection are invaluable. They remind us that our world is vast and complex, and that there is beauty in our differences. By fostering inclusive communities, we can create spaces where everyone feels valued and empowered to share their truth. As we bring this conversation to a close, I want to emphasize the importance of taking action. We've explored the themes of truth, courage, and community, but the true impact of these ideas lies in how we choose to implement them in our lives. Let's commit to being champions of change. Let's pledge to live authentically and to act with courage. Let's create communities that uplift and empower one another. Each of us has the capacity to make a difference, no matter how small. As you leave here today, carry this message with you. You are capable of extraordinary things. Your voice matters, and your actions can create ripples of change. Embrace your truth, act with courage, and nurture your community. Together, we can build a world that reflects our highest values, a world where truth prevails, courage is celebrated, and community is the foundation of our existence. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for your commitment to living authentically and for your willingness to embrace truth, courage, and community. Let's walk this path together, illuminating the way for others and creating a legacy that inspires generations to come. The world is waiting for us to rise, to act, and to create a better tomorrow. Let's do it together. As we delve even deeper into the significance of truth, courage, and community, envision how these principles can transform not only our own lives, but the very fabric of society. Each of us has a role to play in this grand tapestry, and understanding our place within it can empower us to contribute meaningfully. Let's consider the role of truth in shaping our values and beliefs. In a world inundated with information, discerning truth can be challenging. We are often bombarded with conflicting narratives, opinions, and ideologies. Yet amidst this noise, our internal compass, the truth we hold within, guides us. It's essential to cultivate the ability to discern what resonates with our core values. This discernment requires introspection and a willingness to question our assumptions. Think about it. When was the last time you challenged a belief you held dear? Maybe it was a perspective that had been instilled in you since childhood, or one that you adopted without much thought. Challenging our beliefs can feel unsettling, but it is also a vital part of growth. It allows us to refine our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. I recall an experience from my own life when I had to confront a long-held belief. I grew up in a community where certain stereotypes about others were prevalent. As I ventured out into the world and met people from diverse backgrounds, I began to question these stereotypes. I realized that they were based on fear and misunderstanding rather than truth. This realization was uncomfortable, yet it was transformative. It opened my eyes to the richness of human experience and the importance of approaching others with empathy and openness. As we embrace our truths, we must also cultivate the courage to share them. Sharing our truths can be daunting, especially when we fear rejection or misunderstanding. Yet in doing so, we create opportunities for connection and dialogue. When we share our stories, we invite others to share theirs, fostering an environment of mutual understanding. Consider the power of storytelling. Stories have the ability to transcend barriers and resonate on a deeply emotional level. They allow us to connect with others' experiences, sparking empathy and compassion. Each of us has a unique story to tell, one that can inspire and uplift others. Think about the moments in your life when someone's story resonated with you. Perhaps it was a friend's struggle, a family member's journey, or even a stranger's experience shared in a fleeting encounter. These stories remind us of our shared humanity. In my journey, I have been blessed to hear countless stories from individuals who have faced adversity and triumphed. One such story was shared by a woman named Elena, who grew up in a war-torn country. She spoke of the fear and uncertainty that surrounded her childhood, but also of the resilience that emerged from those challenges. Her story was one of hope, illustrating how the human spirit can endure even the darkest times. As she recounted her experiences, the room was filled with an electric energy. Each person in that space felt the weight of her truth, And in that moment, we were united by a shared understanding of struggle and resilience. Elena's story was a reminder that while our experiences may differ, our emotions and desires to be understood are universal. This brings us to the importance of vulnerability in our interactions. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but it is in fact a profound strength. It requires courage to expose our true selves, to share our fears, and to admit our imperfections. Yet when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create authentic connections with others. We invite them to do the same, breaking down the walls of isolation and misunderstanding. Consider how vulnerability can transform a community. When we create spaces where people feel safe to share their struggles, we foster an environment of trust. In such a community, individuals are more likely to seek help when they need it and to offer support to others. This is the essence of a thriving community, one built on the foundation of empathy and understanding. Now let's explore the role of courage in our daily lives. Courage is not only about grand gestures, it also manifests in the small choices we make every day. It's about standing up for what we believe in, even in the face of opposition. It's about being true to ourselves even when it's uncomfortable. Think about the moments when you felt compelled to speak up, whether it was in a meeting at work, a discussion with friends, or even a family gathering. These moments require courage, as they often involve challenging the status quo. Yet each time we choose to speak our truth, we contribute to a culture of openness and authenticity. I remember a time when I was in a group discussion about a controversial topic. I noticed that many people around me were hesitant to voice their opinions, fearing backlash. I felt a surge of responsibility to contribute my perspective, knowing that it was crucial to foster an open dialogue. As I shared my thoughts, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The room shifted, others began to share their viewpoints as well. In that moment, we created a space for honest conversation, and our collective understanding deepened. This experience taught me that courage can inspire others to engage. When we act with bravery, we encourage those around us to do the same. It's a cycle of empowerment that can lead to meaningful change. As we nurture this culture of courage within our communities, let's also remember the importance of accountability. Accountability is a crucial aspect of fostering a supportive environment. It involves holding ourselves and others responsible for our actions and commitments. It's about creating a culture where we encourage each other to strive for our best selves. Consider how accountability can enhance our relationships. When we establish clear expectations and support one another in meeting them, we create a dynamic where everyone can thrive. It's about being honest with ourselves and with each other, recognizing when we fall short and encouraging growth. Imagine a workplace where accountability is embraced. Colleagues support each other in achieving their goals, providing constructive feedback and celebrating successes. In such an environment, individuals feel valued and empowered to take risks, knowing that they have the support of their peers. Now let's shift our focus back to community. We've discussed the importance of vulnerability, courage, and accountability, but let's also explore how community can serve as a catalyst for change. When we come together with a shared purpose, we can create movements that have the potential to transform society. Think about the social movements throughout history. Each one began with individuals who dared to dream of a better world. They rallied together, sharing their truths and acting with courage. Their collective efforts sparked change, leading to advancements in civil rights, gender equality, and environmental justice. One inspiring example is the civil rights movement in the United States. It was fueled by individuals who recognized the injustices they faced and were willing to take a stand. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and countless others risked their lives to advocate for equality. They mobilized communities, creating a powerful force for change that reverberated across the nation. As we reflect on these movements, let's remember that we each have the capacity to be catalysts for change in our own communities. Change often starts with a conversation, a shared vision, or a small act of kindness. It can begin with a single person daring to speak out, inspiring others to join the cause. In your own life, consider the issues that resonate with you. What causes ignite your passion? How can you leverage your community to create positive change? Whether it's advocating for environmental sustainability, promoting mental health awareness, or supporting marginalized voices, your actions can contribute to a larger movement. As we delve into these discussions, we must also consider the role of self-care in our journeys. Engaging in truth, courage, and community can be emotionally taxing. It's essential to prioritize our well-being, allowing ourselves the space to recharge and reflect. Self-care is not selfish. It's a vital practice that enables us to show up fully for ourselves and for others. Think about the moments when you felt overwhelmed or burnt out. In those times, it can be easy to push through, but recognizing when to take a step back is crucial. Self-care can take many forms, whether it's taking a walk in nature, practicing mindfulness, or simply allowing yourself time to rest. When we prioritize our well-being, we cultivate resilience. We become better equipped to engage with the world around us, to support our communities, and to act with courage. It's a reminder that we cannot pour from an empty cup. As we continue this journey, let's commit to nurturing our own well-being while also supporting others in their self-care practices. Let's create environments where self-care is encouraged and valued. In doing so, we foster a culture of compassion and understanding, one that recognizes the importance of mental and emotional health. Now, as we draw closer to the conclusion of our exploration, let's revisit the interconnectedness of truth, courage, and community. These principles are not just ideals to aspire to. They are actionable commitments we can make in our daily lives. Each time we choose to live authentically, act courageously, and support one another, we contribute to a collective movement toward a more just and compassionate world. Take a moment to reflect on the individuals in your life who embody these qualities. Who inspires you to live your truth? Who demonstrates courage in their actions? Who fosters a sense of community and belonging? Let their examples guide you as you navigate your own journey. As we look to the future, let's envision a world where truth prevails, courage is celebrated, and community is the foundation of our existence. Imagine a society where individuals feel empowered to share their stories, where voices are uplifted, and where diversity is embraced. This vision is within our reach if we commit to living out these principles. In conclusion, I challenge each of you to take action. Identify one truth that you will embrace, one act of courage that you will undertake, and one way you will strengthen your community. Share your commitments with others, creating a sense of accountability. Remember, change begins with you. You have the power to create ripples of transformation in your life and in the lives of those around you. Let us walk this path together, illuminating the way for others and creating a legacy that inspires future generations. As you leave here today, carry the flame of truth in your heart, the courage to act in your spirit, and the commitment to foster community in your actions. Together, we can create a world that reflects our highest values, a world where truth prevails, courage is celebrated, and community is the bedrock of our existence. Thank you for being part of this journey, for your commitment to living authentically, and for your willingness to embrace truth, courage, and community. Let's rise together, act together, and create a brighter future for all. The world is waiting for us to step into our power, to share our truths, and to make a difference. Let's do it together.